A Spider-Man suit is arguably one of the most sought after and popular cosplay items pretty much all the way around. You don't have to know a lot about Spider-Man to know that at some point or another in your cosplay journey, you've wanted to cosplay a Spider character. And if I'm wrong, I'm not. You thought about it at least once, I swear you have. Anyway, I'm sure that throughout all of social media, you've seen a bunch of professional Spider-Man cosplayers, a bunch of professional suits, and you always wonder how they look so good, how the suits just look so perfect. What is the secret hack to get in a suit to fit so perfectly well that it looks like it jumped right out of the movie? Well, my friends, that's why I am here today. In this video, I'm going to show you step by step how to perfectly size and measure yourself for your custom fitted Spider-Man costume, making that suit jump right off of the comic page or right out of the movies to look as perfect and as unique and as awesome on you as it possibly can. Wow, I'm out of breath. Hey, what up? I'm Miles and welcome back. And if you're familiar with me or my page, you know that I kind of like Spider-Man, and I've done a few Spider-Man cosplays in my time here. And in doing so, I've had to order a few different Spider-Man suits. And listen, the first time that I ever ordered a Spider-Man suit, it was not sized correctly. And if you're not familiar with this page, then hey, what's up? I'm Miles. God bless your soul. I hope that you can make it to the end of this video. Best of luck to you. Anyway, regardless if you are new to this page or a returning viewer, you clicked on this video for one reason. You are planning on ordering a Spider-Man suit, or you just want to know how to order a Spider-Man suit, and you need to know how to custom size it perfectly to yourself. Obviously, we want to avoid the suit being too large and baggy so that you have like these unintentional web wings, and if you hit a gust of wind, you'll just fly away like a kite. That would be kind of awkward. We also want to avoid the suit being too tight in some areas. Gentlemen, if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. Please, for the love of God, get a dancer's belt. So we're going to break it down in a quick step-by-step guide on how to measure yourself properly to get a perfect fitting Spider-Man suit for you to rock on any occasion. For this video, we are going to be using the site Print Costume for our reference. A lot of these print shops, whether it's Print Costume, RPC, Sim Cosplay, Hero Stein, whichever one, a lot of them have a similar way of measurements. They all have a similar measurement system. And you can apply this video and the things that I'm saying to any one of those sites, give or take if they have a couple different options. The reason that I'm choosing Print Costume is A, because I've always used Print Costume, and B, if you use Print Costume and use my code MILES15, you can save 15% on any order there. And every single suit purchased using the code MILES15 goes into providing credits to give you guys suits again in future giveaways that I will give out to you. Anyway, let's go. So first things first, when you're measuring, you're going to need two things. Number one is a fabric tape measure. And number two, we're going to want to be wearing tighter clothes. Obviously, if we're sizing for a Spider-Man suit, these spider suits are skin tight. We don't want to be measuring ourselves if we're wearing a hoodie, a jumpsuit, a jacket. We want to be measuring ourselves as skin tight as possible. So anything like a compression shirt, a t-shirt, or if you just want to straight commando it, I don't judge, that's on you. But we want to avoid measuring in baggy clothing. Measure it as snug and slim fit to your body as you can. Now, before we get into measuring, there's one little tip that I'm going to bring up later, but I'm going to say it now just so that you have it in the back of your head. There are three different ways that you can measure something. I don't know the exact definitions, but these are the ones that I've made up. There is an exact fit, a snug fit, and a loose fit. We're going to be using all three of those for different parts of the body. I'll explain what those are after we get through all the measurements. So obviously, once you get to Print Costume and you select the suit that you want, you're going to go over to the custom size option. You don't want to get a preset size. You want to make sure it's fitting you. You don't want it to be too big and get the wings, or too small and get the melon mashers. You don't want that. You want it to be tight to you. So we're going to go with custom sizing. Whatever you're measuring in, whether it's feet, inches, or centimeters, try to keep it consistent throughout the whole thing. So if you're measuring in inches, do all of them in inches. If you're measuring in centimeters, do all of them in centimeters. Just keep it consistent, make it easier for the people over there making your suit. The first measurement is going to be your height. The way that you're going to do this is super simple. You're going to find somewhere that has a flat wall and stand right up against it, heels to the back of the wall. Take a pencil, take it right to the top of your head, and mark on the back of the wall. Then turn around and measure the distance from the top of that mark all the way down to the floor. Get that measurement, and that's your height. Sometimes when I do this, I like to drop it a ½ inch just to ensure that it's going to fit me and not be a little bit too loose. The second one is going to be your weight in either pounds or kilograms. Obviously, step on a scale, get the weight, do that. That one's easy. So now the next one is in one box. They want 3 separate measurements: the chest, the waist, and the hips. For these ones, you're going to need the tape measure. You're going to wrap around the selected area to get the measurement. For the chest measurement, what you're going to do is put it on like a backpack, wrap it around your back, and then loop it over to the front, right over the pectoral line. You want to make sure that you're measuring on the widest parts. So the farthest point in which your pectoral muscle pushes outwards, you want to make sure that is the measurement you're getting. Find the number that it overlaps and mark that down. The next 2, waist and hips, you're going to do the exact same way. Wrap it around like a belt, get it to the front, and find where it overlaps. The waist and the hips are very similar and close, but there's one distinction. The waist is where your belt line would be. So if you're putting on a pair of pants, your belt would go about a ½ inch to an inch underneath your belly button. Your hips is the farthest point in which your hips push out. So for the waist, you're going to mimic wherever you would put a belt on. And for your hips, you're going to find the widest point in which your hips or glutes point outwards. Get that measurement and lock it in. For the head circumference, we're going to do the exact same thing on the forehead. Wrap it all the way around and get the intersect point on your forehead. Now, this one does get a little bit tricky because if you do not want a face shell, if you just want a normal mask with lenses on it, take the measurement exactly as it is. But if you plan to add a plastic face shell underneath the mask with magnetic lenses, which I personally recommend, you're going to want to add either a ½ inch to a full inch of extra leeway on your measurement. The reason for that is because if you go too tight on this forehead measurement and you get it exactly to yourself, and then you try to slide a face shell underneath, you're gonna end up stretching your fabric. You wanna make sure you're giving yourself adequate room for that face shell to slide in later. But since it's 4-way stretch Lycra and it will grab, an inch should be more than enough. You don't need to add too much. For the neck circumference, you're gonna do the exact same thing. You're gonna go right above the collarbone and under the jawline. Get the midpoint of your neck, wrap it around, and get the intersect point. If you have an Adam's apple that protrudes out a little bit more, I recommend going right underneath the bulge of that Adam's apple to get a little bit of the curve, but not too much. Again, you want this one to be a little bit tighter because it snugs onto your neck. You don't want it to be, wishy-washy. For your wrist circumference, again, kind of the same deal. You're gonna wrap it around your wrist, find the intersect point, lock that measurement in. Those are all the custom measurements that you're going to have to get your Spider-Man suit. Now, if you want an explanation on all of the options and what they all mean, make sure to check out this video where I go into depth on every single one of those options, show you examples of each one, and kind of break down what they all mean. But now let's loop back to that thing that I talked about earlier, the 3 ways to measure something. This is something that I guarantee I did not come up with, but I haven't seen anyone talk about, so I'm not gonna say I came up with it, but it is something that I kind of figured out myself. But this is the custom way that I go about sizing my suits to make them look the way that they do. I do not use exact measurements on every single thing. Every single way that I told you to get a measurement, wrap it around and find the intersect point, that's an exact measurement. An exact measurement is the second that it laps over, that's your measurement point. There are 2 other ways that I like to measure to make my suits look the way that they do. Those 2 are loose fit and snug fit. A loose fit is where I will take the measurement exactly as it is and I will drop it roughly ½ an inch so that it slouches a little bit. I will do this on areas that I want to be a little bit of extra fabric, areas that I want to have a little bit of ripple effect, or areas that I want to look realistic like fabric. I like to think of it as if I'm wrapping a ribbon or like a shoelace around me. That fabric has a natural drop to it. You want to emulate that. I always think back to that opening scene of Amazing Spider-Man 2 with the ripples on his back. I like to have that in my suit. So I will make sure to do a loose fit on the hip measurement. That also helps in the crotch area so it's not like super tight down there, because trust me, you want a little bit of room down there. Just I'm helping you out. You want some room down there. Don't go super tight down there. You still need that web shooter at some point. These videos are like borderline PG. They're tipping it. The third measurement that I do is called a snug fit. And a snug fit is when you wrap it around to get the intersect point, but you pull it a little bit tighter so it is snug to your body. Think of it as if you're wrapping like an elastic band or a rubber band around your body. How it has that nice little grip to it, how it won't fall off. That's what you want to emulate with the tape measure. You're wrapping it around and you're pulling it just a little bit tighter to get that nice fit. The 3 areas that I do this on are the chest, the wrist, and the neck. Those are the areas that I want to be a little bit tighter. I want the chest to be tighter because it makes my chest and shoulders protrude out of the suit, popping out and showing my physique through the suit. If those areas were loose, it would run the risk of it looking too flat and not showing every single muscle density, not showing every single fold or curve that a snug fit will show. The reason that I want the wrist super tight is because if the chest and wrist together are tight, they're going to make the entire arm kind of fit into that funnel, and it's all going to be relatively snug. Therefore, it's not only going to wrap around my shoulder perfectly, but it's going to wrap around my bicep and my tricep. The last area is the neck, and that's simply just for convenience sake. I'd never want the neck to be like puffy out like this. I don't want it to be wishy-washy. I want it to be nice and snug, and that's how I like all of my suits, because if I don't have that, it runs the risk of the neck looking you know, wonky like this or like tipping up like that, and that's never fun. So in a basic rundown, the way that I do my suit is the basic height I'll measure exactly and take off a 1/2 inch. The chest I'll take off roughly a 1/2 inch, the waist I'll do exactly, and the hips I add on roughly a 1/2 inch. The head circumference, again, if I'm going with a face shell, which I always do, I add on a 1/2 inch to a full inch, depending on, you know, the shell that's gonna go under, the thickness of it, the bender of it, you gotta figure that stuff out. And then the neck and wrist, I will always do snug and probably take off a 1/2 inch as well. Now, just because these are the ways that I measure my Spider-Man suit does not mean it's the way you have to do it. You are more than welcome to measure your suit however you want. If you want to have a certain part be more loose or more tight, that's completely up to you, and you always have the ability to do that. There is not an exact way to do this. I'm simply just sharing with you the way I do it to make my suits look the way that they do. This also comes into play if you are, like, let's say, working out. If you're planning on gaining weight to like bulk up or losing weight to kind of shed down, if you want your suit to last in longevity, you can either size up or down so your suit will still fit you no matter the shape that you're in. That's kind of the deal with me, is a lot of my suits I custom sized to me at that time, but then I threw on like 40 pounds of muscle and now I look really, really tight in all of those suits, and that's how I developed the idea to tighten up some of my future suits while still maintaining the same height, I guess. There's some sort of logic in there, I guess. Anyway, like I said, if you need some more explanation on the details of like all of those things, check out that video over there, as it explains every single piece and every single option of a Spider-Man suit. And if you are ordering off of Print Costume, please make sure to use code MILES15 at checkout, because every single code usage of that goes into providing credits for a giveaway suit that I will give out to one of you guys in a future giveaway. So it's been a minute, but if you are staying tuned with this channel, you know that the secret cosplay is being revealed on October 1st. We are officially 1 month away from the secret cosplay reveal. So because of that, like I said, I'm going to be dropping way more hints. Make sure to check out the Instagram for way more hints. Instead of giving you a hint for this video, I've decided to give you every single video that I have dropped a hint in. So all of these videos throughout the year, there is a secret cosplay hint in all of those. So now you don't have to go through the work of looking through the videos. I've given you a list here, and it's the only time I'm going to do it. Happy hunting. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching. Peace and love, do good things, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.
Yeah, Spider-Man!